Ever wondered why toxic sex is addictive? Hmm? Toxic sex is not about the act itself. It is about the emotional state of the people involved. You know, when one or both partners are unhealed, the sexual connection becomes a substitute for emotional connection. Uh-huh. The body becomes the medium for expressing needs, wounds, and longing that the heart and mind cannot articulate. You know, and this makes the experience feel intense, addictive, and all consuming. Not because it is healthy, but because it is compensating for what is missing. You know, unhealed partners often carry emotional emptiness, insecurity, or unresolved trauma. Instead of facing these feelings directly, they subconsciously use sexual intensity to fill the internal void. You know, because they cannot connect deeply outside the act, they rely on the physical moment to feel valued, to feel wanted, validated, alive, emotionally close. You know, and this creates a pattern where all emotional depth is condensed into the physical act. The intensity becomes a temporary escape from pain, loneliness, or self-doubt. But what feels like passion is often emotional desperation. And what feels like chemistry is often trauma bonding. You know, psychologically, this type of sexual connection activates strong dopamine cycles. The brain links relief and emotional release to the act, creating dependence. You know, unhealed people often give themselves without boundaries, mistake physical closeness for emotional safety, confuse intensity with intimacy, rely on the act to avoid emotional vulnerability. You know, because both partners are operating from emotional wounds, there is no holding back. This can feel thrilling, but it also deepens attachment in unhealthy ways, creating cycles of push and pull, obsession, and confusion. The addiction comes not from the act itself, but from the emotional heat it provides, a temporary feeling of connection they cannot sustain outside the moment. You know, spiritually, sex exchanges energy. When both partners are unhealed, the energy exchange becomes chaotic. Instead of two aligned souls sharing presence, it is two wounded souls that merge their unresolved pain, creating entanglement rather than intimacy. You know, the intensity is a sign of misalignment. A soul craving depth but settling for sensation. The more unhealed the individuals, the more they confuse emotional hunger with spiritual connection. You know, in short, toxic sex feels addictive because unhealed parties pour all their emotional need into the physical moment. The intensity is not love, it is the merging of wounds. You know, true healing creates intimacy without chaos, connection without dependency, and passion without emotional collapse. My people, heal. Heal.